everyone, and welcome to the UnFuckIt Discussion. Um, it was no gravity day today, and the no gravity day didn't show up. So we've all had gravity all day. Apparently, it was
So
a no-go.
disappointing.
I said to Nick about half an hour after the event was supposed to have happened, said, "So are we taking bets on how soon someone's going to come up and say, oh no, no, we didn't calculate the date right. It's actually going to be 2027." Because isn't that what they do every time it's like the rapture? And I mean, I'm goodness, like no gravity, people floating up in the air, or the rapture. I mean, I
Well,
think
I
they're
think
just
we've
kind of
got
mixing their
at
colloquialisms.
least two more end of the world scheduled before the end of 2026, so we're okay.
Okay, so we've got two more end of the world events happening before the end of 2026. One of them's bound to work.
A rapture type thing, I think.
Yes,
But Bledsoe had one that was supposed to have happened
I can't.
earlier in the year, and he misinterpreted, so he's now called it for October or some shit.
I don't know. I don't know. End of the world. But we got to see the eclipse here in England, and not just obviously not just in England, but we got a pretty good view of the eclipse.
We had eclipse
And
glasses.
and
They
we
were
had
awesome.
eclipse glasses.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Yes, and my youngest son was using the special one to go over the lens of the camera on his phone. So he was out there just running from the
Oh, he
top
thought that was the
floor.
coolest shit ever.
Oh, he thought it was the coolest shit ever. Not only that, the last photo we got, he got a picture of
Yeah, I know.
sunspot.
Yeah.
And I was explaining to him that that's one of the things you will see. Like you can use your eclipse glasses all year round to look at the sun, and you'll be able to see sunspots. And he just captured this perfect shot of like there's the eclipse, and so there's the sun, and then the it was just coming off the edge, and you could see a big sunspot in the top corner. So that just made him thrilled. He was quite happy, quite excited, quite excited. So yeah, and there is the planetary alignment. Now, no, this is conspiracy gossip, 100% conspiracy gossip. In that the post going around saying that the last time there was a solar eclipse with a planetary alignment similar to this one was in 1307. And in 1307, of course, we had the arrest of the Knights Templar, and we had a
Yeah.
fuck ton of kings drop dead that year. Fuck ton of kings and queens
Ed,
drop dead that year.
Edward the First and Joan of Arc and the Emperor of
Joan of
China.
Joan of Acre, not Joan of Arc.
Oh, sweet.
It's so Joan of Acre is Acre as in down by Jerusalem, not
That
Joan
makes
of Arc.
way more sense.
It makes way more sense. Trust me, Joan of Arc was not around in 1307.
Oh, it's all right. I was like, I didn't realize she was a king's daughter.
So we were going, yeah, exactly that. Um, so you have a whole pile of shit, and like I said, like were you
It's also
thinking a
meteor
jewel?
shower.
Yeah, and there's also the personage meteor shower that started
Here
last
was
night.
out looking for it at about 4 in the or 3:30 in the morning. She said she couldn't see a lot.
But we've got a wildfire up the valley from us. So she was like, I couldn't see any meteor showers because there was too much smoke in the air to see the meteors, which was disappointing. It was disappointing. Um, but interesting, like it's been an interesting day. It's been an interesting week. And I want to kind of continue off with our conversation we were sort of having last week, talking about disclosure and what disclosure looks like, because that's been the lead up and then the show last week, and then to the lead up to this show this week. Nick and I have been talking about this like nonstop for
Well,
a week and a half.
so last week they had on the Y-Files. Now, we were saying just in the pre-chat that the Y-Files guy is something else. He obviously has dropped. He's had got a new episode out with a guy named Travis Taylor, who was one of the lead scientists on Skinwalker Ranch. And last week, the Y-Files guy had Brandon Fugel on, who is the guy that owns the place, bought the place basically from Robert Bigelow for Bigelow Aerospace, and has sat down and had multiple conversations with the guy. So there's
And then who had Bigelow on?
oh, it was George
Yeah,
Knapp
George Knapp
George Knapp.
had Bigelow himself
Yeah.
on
on a podcast.
within like again that kind of like a 2 week
Well,
period.
yeah,
So
it just done 2 episodes now of that, Nick,
okay.
and it's
I
on.
haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's on Bigelow's own YouTube channel,
Okay.
basically.
So we've got this thing going on. Now, if you all remember, every bloody chowderhead that seems to think they know something says the same thing. They all say, oh, if humanity knew what was coming, then, or knew what the truth was, they wouldn't be able to handle it. There would be mass bedlam, chaos, society would break. Humanity's not ready for this truth. And Danny and I have been discussing the pre-disclosure of disclosure that's going on right now and the conditioning of people's brains. And we were discussing that one of the things that it occurs to me.
Are you okay?
Yeah, no, I've got something going on here. Is that 2020 broke society. COVID-19 lockdowns broke everything. And looking back on it, like 5 years after the event,
6 years now.
6 years after the event, I mean, arguably it stretched for a year, 2021. So, but a few years after the event, was that the purpose? Because when you say, okay, they've got the data collection part of things, yes, we've all agreed that that was a very important part of things. Like, how far can they push a certain thing while giving us X, like entertainment or free money, or, you know what I mean? While in the same time pushing tyranny and breaking human rights laws.
And saying ridiculous things.
Stuff that caused all kinds of cognitive dissonance in everybody, that still echoes everywhere. That broke society. That broke trust in institutions. That broke trust in government. That broke the institution of like doctors, medicine.
The godhood.
The godhood of the lab coats. That broke society. It destroyed it in a way that nothing else could have. And it broke it by sowing such doubt into a massive portion of everybody everywhere. It happened on a worldwide basis. The society had been broken on a worldwide basis. To the point where, if you look at it, before, if you had put disclosure on CNN, or if you put it on the BBC or Fox News or whatever, before the 2020 event, and it had been come out, then there would have been so many fucking people been like, yeah, nah, fuck that. That's bullshit, man. The government's just trying to fucking make a fucking lie and control the narrative and blah, blah, blah. But now they don't use the BBC. They don't use NBC. They use podcasts. They use alternative narratives like the Sean Ryan show or the Jesse Michaels show or Joe Rogan or AJ on The Basement, who's now doing this controlled disclosure, in my opinion. With the people that he has had on there, it's not even disclosure right now, because it's nothing that nobody doesn't already fucking know.
No,
in my
there's
opinion,
a few little bits and pieces.
Yeah, there's some bits and pieces in
there's
there.
some interesting bits.
What we are looking at is what I'm calling pre-disclosure disclosure, more conditioning of people to be able to actually accept whatever it is the fuck that they think that will break society, because they've hinted at the edges of that grand fucking truth that it's all mixed up in angels and demons and aliens and fucking the control of our world, maybe. But at the outset, the institutions that 90% of people had faith in had to be destroyed. And they were literally destroyed. The education systems, they're laughable. The authority of a doctor now to say fuck anything about a vaccine. And the government, nobody trusts anything any government has to say anywhere. It's historic in the world. So on the Y-Files just recently, last couple of days, you had a guy called Travis Taylor, and he was one of the lead scientists on the Skinwalker Ranch stuff. And he drops a bunch of really cool shit. So one of the cool things that broke my brain, and I'll let Danny run with this after, but this one fucking above and beyond any of the shit, like the DMT stuff or the fucking the Tesla stuff that he dropped, which is pretty crazy. At about the 31-minute mark, he's talking about your eyes. And he's talking about archons or something like that. And
Archons.
one of the biblical passages, or one of the historical passages, talking about how you can't see them if you look at them, but you can only see them with your peripheral vision. And then later on, like a couple of minutes later, it's like, scientifically, we have proven that your peripheral vision can see further into the electromagnetic spectrums than your direct eyesight can. And I'm like, fuck off. Because I we've got some weird shit going on around here. I see ghost cats. Jimmy can vouch for me. He was sitting here one day and I was like, fuck, man. The dog even saw it. The dog watched the fucking ghost cat go by, didn't freak out. Jimmy saw it, or didn't. He stared right at it, and I was like, did you fucking see that?" And he's like, "Nope." What?
I
So
watched
yeah,
it.
there's
I
fucking
watched it
ghost.
out. Yeah, Nick was round the corner. We were talking because he was setting up the barbecue, and then he was coming back round, and I was sat by the back door, and the dog was right on the corner of the building, and Nick said something, and the dog watched going from one side of the yard to the other, and I followed the dog, and then when it's sort of like straight in front of me, Nick said, Did you see that?" And I said, "No, but the dog has."
Yep.
It was weird as anything.
And the clocks are doing weird shit
Oh,
around our
okay,
house.
we'll get back to that
But
in a minute.
anyway.
I don't want to get distracted with the clocks because that's a whole topic in and of itself. We're going to go there later on. There's an interesting conversation that's going on with Nick and I right now. And that is, like, going back, because this is all going to be about disclosure, right? But more importantly, about programming. And what Nick was saying. People have been in society as a whole, and that's like kind of globally, if you will, have been so heavily programmed and brainwashed by institutions, whether they're political, religious, social, it doesn't matter, right? On multiple levels. You need to break the programming. And we've been looking at this stuff and looking, especially, let's say, like since about 2016, especially, let's call that almost like a starting of 10 years ago. But since 2020, with all of this, we've seen an explosion of people waking up. Right? People have went through the whole lockdowns, COVID thing, and all of a sudden, like that little piece breaks in their brain, and they go, "Whoa, what the fuck? What the hell? What? Wait, what? What?" And with programming of this type, there needs to be a break in the programming. Like before people can kind of start to comprehend what's going on, you need to put a chink in the chain. You need to put a break in that programming, because it's even the smallest break on any topic. The smallest break starts a chain reaction in that kind of mindset for most people. And right now, and we talked about this last week about the whole thing of podcasts and how the fact of disclosure, and again, to repeat what I said last week, when I'm talking disclosure, I'm not talking about fucking aliens and UFOs. I'm talking disclosure that reality is not what you think it is. All of these things. That it's like a far, far greater expanse of information than just aliens and UFOs. But this disclosure is happening, and it has been especially happening, we want to say, for the last 5-6 years, using the vehicle of these podcasts. And these podcasts, it may have started with people like Joe Rogan, but it is now spread. You now have
There's an appetite for it.
There's a
Form
type
podcast.
long form podcast, and like not long form like an hour, long form like 2-3 hours, sometimes 4-hour shows. There is a hunger for it right
It's
now.
giving people a voice, a place, a platform to speak on. And you know what? Like, that's the important part. When you get a really good interviewer, the ability for them to, like a Bob Lazar or like these
To
guys,
actually
just
put it out
without the editing, it's fantastic.
without the controlled narrative
They're-
being put on top of them as they're being interviewed.
Yeah.
I agreed. My point is, though, is the fact of with all this information coming out, and it's all fabulous. In my opinion, it's all fabulous. I don't agree with all of it. There's lots of these podcasters who have people on who I'm like, okay, well, that's a good point, but the rest of you, like, especially some of the religious people, who've suddenly been coming on these podcasts, where they drop a couple of pieces which you're like, "Ooh, that was interesting." But the overall narrative, you can see clear as day because they're still pushing the religious aspect of things. So you kind of take that and throw it out. But in my opinion, regardless of how factually correct all the information is, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters.
Well,
I think that what it is about is opening your mind, opening people's comprehension that there are other things out there, that there are questions to be asked, that there is information out there that they don't know.
and there's important progress being made on these important questions.
Exactly. And
Like
not
with
all
the
these
David
podcasts.
Sinclair interview between fucking Joe Rogan that you guys told me about.
Yeah.
Started watching that. Fantastic interview.
Yeah, the David Sinclair interview on Joe Rogan. Some of the shit he comes out and says, you sit there and you're like, did you just say that? Again, that's another interview that I highly recommend people watch, because there's some shit that he drops in there that is like, wow, information, just wow.
This is the guy breaking the edges of known sciences.
But here's the thing. Each of these podcasts, regardless of what your flavor is, regardless of what your opinion is on different subjects, whether they're having guests on there that are talking about UFOs, or guests on talking about science, or talking about history, or talking about education, or talking about medicine, or talking about religion, it doesn't matter, because what they're doing is driving a wedge into the programming in people's brains. They're driving a wedge and forcing them to ask questions.
Legitimacy now is coming from people. It's not coming from institutions.
That is a really important. It is a very important thing that has to happen before people can fully comprehend what's going on in this world. You first have to acknowledge that there are questions.
You have a big one coming up on Friday. I don't know if you're aware of it.
Which one's this?
So there's a debate that's being fucking bandied about between Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson, and it's supposed to be about the Charlie Kirk murder and some of the evidence with Tyler Robinson. And to be fair, if this debate goes on, Candace Owens is of the opinion that none of the evidence is good, that there's so many questions that Tyler Robinson can't possibly be the fucking guy. He's a fucking dupe at best. And Andrew Wilson is taking the position of, nope, the feds are on the up and up. Everything is fucking as presented. And they're supposed to be setting up a debate that's going to bandy these 2 points. And
do you think he'll actually appear? Do you think he will actually face someone like her?
Okay, so we'll see. But if it takes place, this is the kind of thing that we're discussing, where we're looking at the actual trial of Tyler Robinson right now. And there are so many fucked up things going on in that trial, so many broken lines of evidence, so many broken lines of reasoning, and everything that starts to stack up, you're like, how can you even be continuing this in a real world? This is a fucking kangaroo court by definition.
Yeah.
And now that they're going to have, if this debate goes on, millions of fucking people are going to watch it live, and hundreds of millions of people will, by extension, see the hot clips from it. That traction, that kind of thing,
attention onto that.
Yeah, it draws a legitimacy to these kind of platforms that a kangaroo court that people look at as the legitimate aspect of the law go, that's not right, that's not working, this is absolutely wrong. And then they look at what the alternative fucking media does and sees that it's done in somewhat of a legitimate fashion, brings good points, argues on good faith. We'll see how that goes. But it's another nail in the coffin of what the legacy stuff has for us versus what we're doing for ourselves.
Yeah. So I want to address Sony. Your comment in the chat is yes, absolutely. Sony said that is also intrinsically part of the program. Keep chasing the carrot, the world of questions and distractions and attachments. Yes. Yes, if you allow it to overrun you. But I'm not talking about us, right? I'm not talking about the unfuckers who've been doing this circus for a very fucking long time, and we've been down the rabbit holes and we've wasted hundreds of hours on all kinds of stuff. I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about the general public who don't know that there are questions to be asked, who don't comprehend things that are coming up, or maybe they've had niggling questions at the back of their minds the whole time, right? And then all of a sudden, there are these podcasts, mainstream, like Joe Rogan, like AJ on the Y-Files. Like, that's mainstream stuff, really, that are coming in and they're going, there's a question here. And people are going, like I said, it breaks people's programming. It breaks the hold on, I know everything I've been told is right. I know what's going on because the government told me so. Or my priest told me so, or my teacher told me so, or my parents told me so. And therefore it's right. In order for humanity, in my opinion, in order for humanity to get through these upcoming events that seem to be coming faster and faster and faster, the first aspect of that is waking up to the fact that you've been sold a shit ton of lies. And it doesn't matter whether we're talking about medicine or science or UFOs or education or politics or religion or sociology. Like, it honestly does. Green energy, like literally every single piece of that is being shown right now by real people, boots on the ground. Real people, boots on the ground, the people who are doing the work, who are involved in these things, are showing that the mainstream narratives across the board from A to Z is a bullshit lie. And that is how we, in my opinion, break people out of the stupor that they're in. Break them out of the zombie mindset of being completely programmed and start waking up and start asking questions. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't.
Most of the time, this stuff, I would like to address something that was said in the comment section. It's not like I'm sitting down and putting a show on and watching it like this for a 4-hour period out of my day. Most of the time, I am doing shit with my hands, building something, working, building a fountain, making shit in my shed, cleaning a kitchen,
doing laundry.
My shit is usually busy as fuck with my hands, but there's only so much time I can exist in here before it gets really crowded. So I usually put those things on to give my mind a break.
Instead of watching TV, right? Like, that's the thing. Instead of watching TV or a movie or something else, you're listening to a podcast of someone talking about shit that happened with Nikola Tesla.
That broke
Right?
my brain.
I'm going
I
to
always
travel back to that.
love anytime somebody comes up and tells me something I didn't know about
Yep.
Nikola Tesla lore. I fucking love that shit.
Yep. Anytime you learn something about anything ever, really, on any subject, anytime I listen to one of these podcasts and someone says something that I didn't know and can add to my own little book of knowledge that exists in my own head, I'm excited by that. So this shit with
Travis Taylor, he's talking about Tesla or that apartment building that he was in New York or something like
the
that.
New York hotel.
Apparently, when Tesla decided he was going to remove himself from the public,
Well, maybe
it was
he didn't discover
1927, and that was when they started doing the planning for that building. That's the building that he lived in. Travis went there and he had a look at that fucking building, and he was like, I looked at the structural blueprints for that building. Holy shit. There was a steel fucking column in the center of that building that was driven 50 feet into the ground, and there was a little dome at the top like a Wardenclyffe.
exactly like
Three fucking massive generators in the basement. On the plans, 40 floors, Travis discovered a 41st fucking floor. Welded door shut. They got in there.
The engineer of the building, who'd been engineer of the building, didn't even know existed.
So everybody knows the story about how when Tesla died, they went in and they took all of his files out of his cabinets and whisked them away and fucking you couldn't see them. According to Travis, when he went into the 41st floor, they got behind that door, they found a lab and they found some files. And I'm like, ah.
And through a FOIA request, they got a letter from Roosevelt to Tesla asking how did he phrase it?
How your war was going.
Your secret war plans are going.
Progress. How your secret war is progressing.
How your secret war is progressing. Now, secret war can mean a lot of things, but I mean, this is like just prior to the Second World War, right? But I mean, it could mean a lot of things, like a lot of different things. But just the fact that, and that's a FOIA request. They have a hard copy of the letter from Roosevelt to Nikola Tesla saying, how is your secret war progressing?
So,
and then you find out this building is basically a Wardenclyffe.
So did he mention, so you know how everyone's like, Tesla died poor and unpaid? That's where Tesla's money went in building that hotel.
Yeah.
That it was specifically built for him in that room.
And he had to have designed it.
Oh, no, he did 100%. It was, I think it was even like, if you dig deep, I think the Rockefellers may have even paid for it, which is like even more uncanny. But the part about finding the files, did he mention who went to find them?
Yeah, Donald Trump's uncle.
So
Yeah.
so Trump's uncle, his statement actually was, when I went to the safe, it was empty, and I know what papers were in there.
Yeah.
Because he worked with Tesla. It wasn't just like, oh, he got assigned. He'd worked with Tesla, and that's why he got assigned.
And the other question that was very interesting that came up is the fact, of course, that Trump's uncle also is aligned with, tied to, in some way, shape, or form, Majestic 12. Now, wouldn't it be interesting to find, is there a direct line between Tesla and Majestic 12? And is that the secret war that Tesla he was working on?
He was one of the dudes of one of the original starters. Now, the thing in what came out of Tesla's lab was a whole bunch of stuff that Uncle Trump ended up releasing. So, like, Dollard will always, he refers back to these special fuses that he needs in his devices. And it's all Uncle Trumpy.
Don't forget his links to Philadelphia experiment as well.
Yeah, and remember, he was constantly at, call it, war with Westinghouse as well.
I don't know. It was an interesting little piece. It's one of those, like Nick said, we have a little bit of an infatuation with anything to do with Tesla. So anytime someone can bring up another piece of information, something that we haven't heard, is always like, oh, that's a treasure.
Questions about that building now, right? Like, so we know Wardenclyffe, it was built like a motherfucker. Like, when they tried to demolish it, it took 3 consecutive fucking crews to demolish that thing. And every single time it was like, we didn't bring enough dynamite.
Yeah.
And then when he built Wardenclyffe, because of what he was doing, he had a massive chunk of copper in the ground there as his ground load. And now I wonder what's underneath the fucking building in there, because that fucking Wardenclyffe central steel tube that had a dome on it obviously was grounded to something. So fucking, I'm wondering what's down there. And I also wonder, because of that anecdotal story about the 3-pound oscillator weight that made a fucking earthquake in downtown. So
was it attached, that oscillator? Because the story goes that he was just a sad old man and he just had an oscillator table and a 3-pound weight, and somehow, or did he have something in the lab and this oscillator was attached to that massive steel pole that goes at least 50 feet into the ground under a great big giant huge copper plate, and that's what he was oscillating.
Well, one of the things that is a misinterpretation with Tesla's thing is that the electricity or the energy traveled through the air, and that's not what happens.
It was the other
It goes
way.
through the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, goes through the
Gotcha.
earth.
Yeah, I don't know. It was I say well worth watching. There's a whole pile of little pieces that he drops in that's entertaining and a little bit of mind goo, the kind of stuff that you like to chew on in your brain and go, oh, that's an interesting little thought, or oh, I like that little drop of information.
It's when they
About-
start fucking talking about Schauberger hardcore is when I think that's like when we're starting to get close to real proper disclosure, because he's like the more modern Tesla.
No,
Yes.
you know, there's so much information coming up right now. So much information. And like I said, regardless of whether it's true or it's false, regardless of whether it's bullshit narratives or whatever, I kind of like all of it because I like seeing all the flavors being presented. I like
I
seeing
like the mystery
all
being back in the
flavors.
world.
And the mystery being back in the world. Exactly. Like when people, so this guy that I'm sorry, Ben, supply me his name, the guy who was on Joe Rogan that we were talking about in the
It's
chat.
David Sinclair.
David Sinclair. He's
He's
talking
cool.
about basic anti-aging technology.
Basic advance.
No, I'm saying
And he's on his own
basically
shit.
talking
He
about-
didn't say he was, but you look
Yeah,
at that motherfucker, you're like,
sitting there looking
taking
like,
your own
right,
shit.
you are taking your own drugs, dude. You have a face of a 35-year-old and a hairline of a 25-year-old, and you're almost 60.
Either
So,
that or he's got a hole in the floor of his basement. He's developing some skin lotion.
yeah, exactly. Well, he's already said he's developing skin lotion,
Oh,
right?
he's
So,
he's on all the sources.
and here's I guaranteed you just look at the guy and you're like going, and you could tell, like even Rogan's like, yeah, when he says no, can't take any of the stuff because blah 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 blah. Rogan's like,
Ethics.
right, um, but he opens up there's some incredible points that he talks about DNA when he's talking about things like telomeres and DNA and genetics, etc. that are just like mind-blowing moments with some of the shit that they're talking about now. And what was interesting is he's saying like he's not the only one doing this. Jeff Bezos started a company. Idiot boy from the other billionaire like in that same category who's also started his own genetics and longevity one. The guy talked about it.
Altman.
Talks about Altman. Sorry, Sand Altman is also started one. So you have all these mega wealthy guys all now investing huge amounts of money into longevity, into turning back time, into
The guy is apparently
rebooting
got a
people
goddamn
back.
pill and a drink already developed that he's testing. And he's like, look, we've got to limit our testing to eyeballs because it's really like an isolated part of your body. But we've developed a drink and a pill, and we feel like it's probably got a pretty good success chance. We've even dialed it into the point where we can, target what age you should, kind of be, your optimum age. And I'm like, okay, fuck. So he's like, we're 8 years in the lab further ahead than what I can talk to you about right now.
Yeah. And that was another one of those pieces. Like they're 8 years ahead. What he's saying now that he's publicly talking about now is 8 years ago in the lab, not now. And
Danny?
it's interesting. So do you remember
Also-
remember the movie Jupiter Ascending?
Oh yeah.
And there's the scene where the young girl who's the queen's reincarnation, whatever, and she's talking to her daughter, and the daughter says, like talk about wealth and the fact of like when you have wealth beyond imagining, there's only one thing that is worth anything, and that is more time.
Mhm.
More time, right? So like Jupiter Ascending, they're harvesting humans, well, not just humans, but beings everywhere, but harvesting humans for this essence that they get out of them that he makes them young again. So they're now living thousands of years instead of 100 years or 60 years. So it's really, really interesting that, like I said, that whole thing.
Like,
That when you've got everything, when you've got all the money and you've got all the power, the only thing left to be able that you want more than anything else is more time. And your Sam Altmans and your Jeff Bezoses all investing millions and millions and millions of dollars into these genetic studies, into longevity.
Well, one of the things that sorry, go ahead, Mark. You've been waiting.
I was just going to say they've been studying telomeres. Oh, at least for 10 years is when I ran
Yep.
across it.
Yep.
And there are, I don't know if they're a hoax. I haven't tried them or anything like that, but there are some supplements where you can extend your telomeres. You can actually rebuild your telomere
One of the
ends
things
on your
C60
gene.
does.
Yeah, it's one of the things C60 does. Exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
This is beyond that. Like telomeres are like
It's like
5% of what they're talking about
Right.
in this aging stuff. So like he's talking about all the great like gene expression and talking about things like literally
regrowing limbs if you needed.
like they're talking about things like being able to trigger the cells. Humans have the ability to regrow limbs. We just don't.
Mhm.
So if you can tell the cells to regrow those limbs, then you're talking about things like regrowing your appendix, even, let alone a finger that you've cut off or an arm, regrowing teeth, regrowing skin cells. So like this is the kind of thing. And there's always the question that comes up of like, do you really trust that someone's going to be tampering with your DNA? I'm always a little leery, but it's the fact of the more of this information is coming out, it's almost like a spotlight again of everything that we were taught about medicine, about health, etc. was fucking like they know so little.
I just like
They know so little.
We're not expected to have guys like Zawi Hawass answer our questions for us, right? We've got questions. We don't even know some of the questions that we're supposed to be asking, but
Yep.
now we're learning them. So, and it's through places like this.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. And like this is the thing, like 10 years ago, where would you gone to learn about these kind of information? Like you can search for it on the internet, you can try and find a book, but you need to know the questions to ask to know what questions to ask. You need to know that there is questions to be asked before you can ask the questions. And that's what I'm seeing in these podcasts is that you get someone, I cannot tell you how many times we watch, and like Nick said, the podcasts are on, I'm working at my desk, Nick's working at his desk, or we're working out doing other shit around the house. It's going in the background. Well, all of a sudden you pause it and you're like, holy shit. Did you hear that one thing? That one thing. Yes, it's a 2-hour podcast, but there was one sentence. And it will trigger us.
Peripheral vision blew my mind.
Yeah,
Boom.
and it'll trigger, and we'll be off for like 2 hours, having 2 hours of discussions on the topic as you start pulling in all this fucking shit, and you start connecting dots. You know me, I love to connect dots. And that's the thing. But there are subjects that you don't even realize that there's questions to be asked until someone points them out to you. And that's what I'm seeing in all these podcasts. Like I said, I may not agree with some of the people that are on these podcasts, and most of the people on these podcasts, and their conclusions on things, etc., but they open up good questions and make you go, oh, I never thought of that. I never thought of that. Wow, that is an interesting point. And then your brain starts working and you start thinking through a bunch of the stuff. And that's one of those things I talk about, like breaking the programming and waking up. I'm wondering how much of what we're seeing play out now is almost like learning the new skill, or relearning the skill of reasoning, logic,
Mhm.
being able to think for
Critical
yourself, think things through and connect dots and start asking the questions independently. Independently asking the questions. Like, that's where my brain goes with all this kind of stuff. Is like, there's a whole lot of people who have no reasoning skills. God knows we've discussed this for a very long time. The average IQ is plummeting at the moment. And being able to actual reason, logic, work, if A plus B equals C, then this. So I see a lot of this that's happening right now is a way of kind of turning that area of the brain back on, triggering people to start asking questions and thinking for themselves.
Oh, that realizing what's right and what's wrong. I believe you guys discussed on Sunday Joe Feltz. Do you know that name?
Remind me again.
He's the guy that was doing the
Oh,
archive of the books,
the books, all
the
the books.
rare and the
Oh,
esoteric books, demonologies, all of the stuff that people cannot get their hands on. He was getting them, he was digitizing them, and he was making them available to everybody. And he wasn't destroying the fucking books.
Yeah, unlike
Well, they suicided that guy. Did not like what he was doing. And apparently the death, I'm going to read this verbatim. The death of Joe Phelps has awakened a dragon. Sacred and rare old books are now available to all. Supporters of Joe have created a website to honor Joe's work, mission, and memory. They have uploaded all of the books that Joe had in his possession, plus much, much more. This collection will grow and evolve, and everyone is encouraged to share any rare or sacred old texts to the site. So people are sick of being fucking told that they can't anymore, and it's almost like, you know what, fuck you. I'm now going to take this as a personal challenge.
Yep.
Which is another knee-jerk reaction. That's fantastic.
I like it. This is the whole narrative right now, like the guiding narrative, I'll go more into this into the members chat because I have some stuff I want to say on this topic that I can't say publicly without getting blacklisted. The mainstream narrative that is being promoted by certain people, yeah, I'll just say certain people, is falling to pieces. Like across the board, every single piece of these narratives are falling completely apart. Things like I was saying, Nick and I were talking about earlier today, things like that whole green, go green, the whole, oh, for the climate, green living and blah, blah,
We're
blah.
three in data centers. It's hard to push that.
Well, but not just that, like the actual, it's not about the fact of like they're being superseded by all these other more important factors. It's the fact that people are literally going, it's all fucking bullshit. Like this whole green stuff, people bought into it maybe in 2016, like, oh, we have to save our planet because global warming and stuff. And no one believes it anymore. Like it used to be like if you said climate change is bullshit, you would get like just stoned to death by the general public.
Just the
Now the general
double
public,
fucking mask wearers.
well, okay, yes, the super boosted double mask wearing morons. Yes, but the narratives are crumbling. And when we're looking at the politics right now, it's so blatant. So Nick and I were talking about the fact of, we'll call it disclosure. On one hand, we have the word disclosure. And like I said, I'm not talking about UFOs and aliens. I'm talking about actual disclosure. And the great noticing.
Oh, I love that
The great
phrase.
noticing is going on. And right now, it is crazy how much noticing is happening about everything. And it is mainstream people. It's like we hear these conversations coming out of people in the supermarket or just people online that you know who you know are not awake, but all of a sudden they're talking about the shit going on. Oh, it's all fucking bullshit. This is all bullshit. It's all lies. It's all bullshit. Oh, well, this whole political shit is all crap. And yeah, exactly, Jen. Apocalypse means the unveiling. The unveiling is the unveiling of everything. And we are genuinely in the apocalypse right now because holy shit, the great noticing is crazy because not a week goes by. Not a week goes by that something doesn't come up that we're like, they just said what publicly? What?
Apocalypse is a crowd of alpacas, and we know it. It's a bunch of llamas together.
Yes, no, not the alpaca lips.
That's exactly what it
Yeah,
is.
okay. Well, you can go kiss your llama. I'm going to talk about apocalypse. Oh, Jimmy, stop it! You guys are trying to distract me in the chat again. You're terrible. So yeah, I don't know. There's so much stuff going on right now that it is like crazy, crazy, crazy. The shit with Trump right now.
See him on the golf course with his fucking like radar interceptors.
No,
Oh my God, there's a famous fucking image floating around right now. I sent it to you. Hang on.
I have
Right here. Trump cannot go golfing without fucking missile interceptors behind his back right now.
for fuck's sakes, like yeah,
He
he
Did you see he did
wishes.
the transfer
He
on the
wishes.
Air Force One?
Yep, his transfer to Air Force One. I don't know if you know that, Danny?
No, what?
He was in Turkey and he was supposed to be getting on Air Force One and flying back, and at the last second he dodged into a little catering truck fucking door, hid in a catering truck. Air Force One had all the reporters and they fucked off with Air Force One. Meanwhile, Trump fucking goes to another plane. He was afraid Iran was going to assassinate him.
He wishes. Like again, this is one of those things. I'm pretty sure Iran is like, dude, you're not even worth the fucking missile.
No. Iran came out and said, we don't want to hurt Trump. He's doing a fantastic job of destroying America.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like Iran wouldn't even waste the missile. They wouldn't even waste the bullet because Trump is doing their job for him. He is taking down America and taking down the American military machine. So why interfere with that? And I'm sure Putin and she feel the exact same way. But like, no, just let him sink himself. At this point, we'll just let him play. And his like, he's just, it's so transparent. The idiocracy is so fucking in your face. In your
The
face.
midterms are going to be hilarious.
Oh man, that's going to be a slaughter.
The midterm.
Okay, wait.
Imagine like what
Wait.
they're going to have to pull out.
That's actually an interesting kind of like we should go there for a few minutes
Okay.
because everybody's fucked right off with Democrats as much as Republicans.
Oh, I know what you're going to talk about.
So what the fuck is going to happen? Like the midterms, is it just going to be like, nah, fuck you, nobody going to vote for nobody?
Or is this third political party about to happen?
Or is it a third party coming in?
And that's the thing. The rumors are, and like there was that meeting, and Tucker Carlson was there, and then he denied and said he would never run in politics, but he's got the money to fund something like that. And I think there's a lot of people out there who have got a lot of money who are just as fucked off as he is on a lot of this stuff. So are we going to suddenly see a third political party suddenly appear in America? Because at this point, like, what the hell? Like, it's so bad right now. No one trusts anyone. And there was a little clip that came by, and I'm not sure how old the clip was, but it was obviously since Trump has become president this time. And this person was just like saying, like, I'm a diehard Democrat. I've been a diehard Democrat my whole life. And then this whole Biden thing happened, and I was just like, what? No. So she says, I literally started going very, very right and and I was like, okay, Trump is going to be president. Well, it's got to be better. And then she sat there going, and now I'm like, what?
So
like, there's your choices are deranged or deranged, senile or senile.
yeah, third parties are never the answer. It's like
No,
political
it isn't.
syphilis.
But it is the thing is, it is a stage call. It is a stage call, like a massive scream across
As
society.
Canadians, we know the NDP is an utter failure. They tried
Yep.
to be the answer to the liberals and the conservatives. They were fucking just absolutely awful.
Yep.
We've seen it here in the UK somewhat, where you've got Labour and Conservative here, and
and they're about to lose to
They're
reform.
fucking bunch of parties that are nibbling around the edges, like the Reform, or what's the other one, the New Alliance,
Restore.
that
Restore.
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 Yep.
So yeah, the extra parties are just a fucking symptom of a syphilitic corpse. There's
I know, but the thing is, look. We all know it's not an answer. We all know that it's never a fucking answer because politics is never an answer to fucking anything. But it is another one of those pieces of transparency across that gets smacked across people's faces. The thing is that where are we right now? We've said it all the time. Like, we're at that stage where there is no saving it. There's no saving it. By it, I mean basically politics, finance, all of it. In general, there's no saving it.
we're goy for the fucking established system, or we're data for the technocrats.
Danny.
Good photograph.
Oh, I didn't. Oh,
You said that word. Don't say that word.
we're good.
Go ahead,
I'm
Christy.
okay.
On the way home from Illinois on Monday, my eldest now will be back in Massachusetts to vote in the upcoming election cycle. So she said, I wonder what's going on the ballot for Massachusetts, things, questions, and who's raising them, so I can have time to look into this stuff. Because that's where she's at and she likes that stuff. So fine.
Yep.
There is a question that has been motivated by the citizens of
Okay.
Massachusetts to make it possible for anyone to vote in any primary. You do not have to be a Republican to vote in the Republican primary. You would not have to be a Democrat to vote in the Democratic primary. And this is motivated by the citizens. They got enough of they got enough signatures to get it on the ballot, at least at the state level, for this fall's election cycle. And I found that very interesting.
That is an interesting little switch up. Go ahead, Leonida.
I don't know if you can hear me or not.
It's pretty
A
faint.
little bit.
You don't know if she can hear you or not?
Okay, hold on.
Hold on,
I have
plug
a
in your
cat in my
headset.
arms. No, I have a cat in my arms. I can't really do that.
Oh,
So, yeah, in my state, you just have to change your party to be able to vote in any primary. So if you want to be a Democrat for that primary, go right ahead. But you can only vote once, no matter what party it is. So if you pick a party that year, you can vote Democrat, or you can vote Republican, or you can vote independent. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that you could do the same in Massachusetts. It's a matter of limiting the vote to only once, and that way it's not all kind of caca and screwed up and stuff. All
I
right.
don't know. I think you should be able to vote for both in both parties if you're talking about the nominees, right?
Yeah,
Why shouldn't you?
and
Why
the way
shouldn't you?
I
Because then you
kind of
get your
agree
choice that you want to vote for in the end.
It's two different. It's two different votes.
you can it's too many votes. Okay, you only get one vote. Okay, so you're only supposed to vote once, right, for primary, and once per general. But the thing with this is that if you want to vote in that primary, then go right ahead. Just change your affiliation. I've been them all. I've been them all. I've been Green. I've been Independent. I've been Democrat. I've been Republican. I've been them all. Okay. What, like you said, right wing, left wing, same bird. It doesn't really matter. It's a matter how often and who all is voting. Okay, so here's the screw up. If you got people that are in California voting in Ohio, now we got a problem.
Exactly.
Now we got a problem. Okay, I don't care. I don't care as long as it's Ohio people voting. Voting in Ohio, then Ohio is fine. Okay. If you got Ohio people that want to mail in their vote for California, okay, maybe we'll turn it red. I don't know. Who knows? right?
As an
I
opinion
don't
poll,
think so. I don't think it's going to work. Not in
Well,
California.
they accept that if they accept mail-in votes, whereas here they don't. So
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I should vote in California this year instead, right? I mean,
Just travel around the
well,
state and vote
on
vote
that
in all different places.
line, Leonida, it's my opinion
uh,
that since America and their politics saturate the rest of the entire fucking world, then the rest of the world should at least get an opinion poll vote.
Yep.
Maybe just a token vote doesn't have to
We
be
should all
counted.
we should all be able to
Oh,
vote
what
in the
we feel
American
is fucking important
elections.
because
what
it sure
for
affects
every
us.
single country?
Yeah,
Or can we do
everyone in every
single
single country should
I'm not
be
saying
able to
it should
vote.
dominate what you actually vote. I'm not saying it should even matter in the vote at all. I'm just saying we have the technology for it now, and since American
Public
politics,
opinion vote. If
i.e.,
Well,
what Trump has done with
unfortunately,
the
that
Strait of Hormuz
technology
and
is not
fuel prices
that
everywhere, that
technology.
we should
I'm
have an
sorry, that
opportunity to
technology is
vote.
too screwy. The technology is not there.
no,
Anybody
It
but
can
we're
certainly
be
is.
talking.
anybody.
No, Leonie,
Yeah.
we're talking again. We're not talking about a vote. We're talking about just a public opinion, like a poll, where everyone else
Oh,
in
we
the world
already
should
got
be able
that.
to add our
You
votes
get
in
that
to
all the
say, like,
time. It
no, we don't
depends
want
on what channel.
this idiots.
It depends on what channel you tune in. You've already got that. Just take a poll. Go out, put a poll up. You can put a poll
Yeah,
up
we're
right
talking
You're
now.
about
missing the
official.
point, Leonida.
Leonida,
Never
we're
mind.
talking-
It's absolutely fine.
we were talking like an official opinion. We're not talking about
Oh, I'm not
like
missing the point. The thing
CNN
is, I
fucking
don't
polls or whatever.
understand why you would want to do that. It just
Because
make it
Because
everything does
American politics
America
dominate the
fucks
rest of the fucking
us.
world. I explained that.
Because Trump right now is fucking us all up the ass. Thank you very much. So therefore, if we have to feel what's happening through American political idiocy, the rest of the world should have a vote. That's all we're saying. Saying it as a joke, but not joking, but joking, but not joking. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. The world's all fucked. It really is completely and utterly fucked at the moment. Like you gotta wonder. You just gotta wonder. We didn't even get to a bunch of other stuff that we had lined up to talk about tonight. So maybe that'll come into the members chat. I don't know. But for now, I'm going to say good night to everyone out in video land. We all didn't fly away. The gravity stayed where it was supposed to stay. There were no free rides for anyone. Will they try and reschedule that for another day? I think they probably will. I'm sure someone will turn around and be like, oh, no, we got the dates wrong. I don't know. But I am hoping to get together with our Jules to talk astrology in sometime in the next couple of weeks. So maybe she'll give us a little bit more of a rundown of this big planetary alignment and solar eclipse and all that fun stuff. We'll see. For now, I'm going to say goodnight to everyone and members stick around.